I am thrilled to present the next live presentation, which is my studio tour / interview with Lyric Montgomery Kinard. Lyric is truly one of my favorite people and is teaching at our upcoming Spring Quilt Festival that will be happening in late April, early May, virtual that is. And besides being an honestly all positive woman, Lyric is an award-winning artist with a passion for sparking the creativity that she knows each of her students possess. With playful support and gentle encouragement, she will take you through your first steps on a new path, seeing the world through the eyes of an artist. As an artist, author, and educator, she transforms cloth into art in her studio and timid spirits into confidence. I hope that you enjoy Lyric's studio tour and my interview with her. We're going to show a short commercial and then right on to the tour. Hello, Lyric. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
I'm really good. It's really delightful to see you again, Diana.
Yes, it's always nice to see you. You're always so complimentary when you start your classes. I truly appreciate that.
Well, I have to say, of all the places, all the conferences I've worked, the Mancusos make it so easy for the teachers, and we appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate that as well. And I'm so glad to have you join us at our next upcoming show. Why don't we start a little bit about talking about your background?
It's a funny story and kind of circuitous how I came to where I am now. I'm the oldest of 6 kids, grew up in the Salt Lake Valley in Utah, and loved sewing from pretty early age, or maybe it was necessity. I had hand-me-downs from cousins, even though I was the oldest, and so by the time I got to high school, I was sewing all my own clothes and enjoyed it. Loved making what I wore. I did all kinds of different things. It was really fun growing up kind of thing. I play French horn. And that's all I thought I was ever going to do with my life. That's all my summer jobs were working in like the bands that played at amusement parks. Just that was going to be my life, right? Things happen, things change. My husband and I met in the marching band at the University of Utah, that music thing, and it was right in then that I realized that if I wanted to be a professional musician, I had to give up everything else, because it's so competitive and so it's just not good for a family life. And my interests were so varied, and I get bored if I only do one thing, right? So I changed my mind. I studied architecture, I studied English. We moved to the East Coast straight out of school. And instead of doing another 4 years of college, because the university here wouldn't accept any of my transfer credits for the architecture school, I wandered around for a little bit, had kids, and one of my best friends saw me at home with this baby going absolutely insane, like stark raving mad, and said, "Get out of the house and come talk to grown-ups." And she took me to Quilt Bee, and I was completely hooked. Like, it kept me sane. It made me happy. The women in my Quilt Bee were the kindest, generous, most wonderful people. They taught me so many new things. And quilting was a thing I could do 2 seconds at a time, right? And you can leave it and come back, and it's just the same as you left it, right? I tried all kinds of other medium and creative outlets, but they all required bigger chunks of time, and they were just a lot harder to do with the life of a mom, right?
Yeah.
And it
So,
was, you're gonna love this. So 2 years later, that same friend and I went and saw our first big quilt show. And it was a Mancuso show when you were in Williamsburg.
oh, that's awesome.
It was so cool. I was also having like, I'm sure I had like serious postpartum depression. I had just had baby number 2, but that factored into this, but I probably embarrassed myself to no end. I stood in front of a wall of quilts that were, there was a Ruth Powers and a Carol Breyer Fallert and an Anne Fall and just this whole row of art quilts, like nothing I had ever seen before. And I just sobbed. I think no quilts could do that. And immediately went off and took every single class I could. I ended up back at the Mancuso shows every single year. I learned to screen print and dye and just do all the things so I could create my own. I had already loved quilting, but now it was all mine. And just what a fantastic journey it's been.
That is
So
amazing.
it's pretty
That
fun.
is me.
I feel like
I'm so glad that Mancuso was part of that dream from the beginning. That is a great story. So how did you get into teaching then?
Partly to pay for my habit, my addiction to fabric. You know, we were a young family just starting out, and I would do things like skip lunch to buy a fat quarter, right? So, you know, oldest kid, mom, that kind of thing. I'm kind of a bossy loudmouth. And
Right.
so teaching things doesn't scare me. I like to be in charge, and I try not to boss any of my students around in class. But you know, it kind of came natural to me. It was kind of funny because both of my parents were public school teachers their entire careers. And I'm pretty sure all 6 of us kids were like, we are never going to be teachers. And 4 of us are now teachers.
Oh my gosh.
Teaching, actually, every one of us say we have the best teaching, but I think teaching quilters and being able to travel and do it, that's another big reason I started teaching. I went to the local quilt guild and saw that they brought in teachers every year. And I also love to travel as much as I love this quilting thing, and realized it probably wasn't going to happen any other way unless I made it happen. And this way, it's like I get to go play with quilters and I get to go see new places and meet new people. And it's just, this is a career that I didn't even know existed and could not have in a million years imagined. And it is the best. I love the people I get to go meet and play with.
Yeah, I can tell by the way that you're talking that what you truly love what you do, that it is truly your passion. So how have you done with the on now, not so much traveling, but more in front of a camera like we are now? How is that for you?
I'm making it work. I still get to play with quilters, right? And I'm an extrovert. So, and I also learned pretty early on that if I wanted things to happen, I had to start it myself. I had to do things to make them happen. Otherwise, I sit in my little shell and feel sorry for myself. Right? Nobody's doing all these things for me. So I do things. I started interviewing quilters around the world via Zoom. I've been teaching online for probably 20 years. So I've been there already. I hadn't done it live before, but it was a pretty easy jump. And, we're all learning as we go. But I already had all the professional lighting equipment and the filming equipment. So and have enough experience with all of that it wasn't a huge leap for me. And I reached out and did things like Sue Bleiweiss and I started Global Quilt Connection, where it's like a giant meet the teacher, and it's worldwide. So I've worked at making those connections with my colleagues, with colleagues in quilt guilds, and then especially with my students. So it, it's been 90% is good. I still am going stir crazy. I still want to get out and go anywhere, somewhere, but it's working.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Why don't you show us a little bit of your studio?
Okay, let me swap my camera around real quick. And let's start. All right, I'm on the 3rd floor, so people try to creep up my stairs, my kids, and I can always hear them because they're squeaky. I moved up here a couple of years ago and it was fabulous. This used to be just a 3rd floor bedroom. And we decided to put in, when we needed a new roof, we put in dormer windows. And when they came to inspect it, they said, windows are great, roof is great. The rest of this whole place is nowhere up to code. And from a 3-week job, it turned into like 6 months of gutting the place. So that was a nightmare, except that, oh my gosh, I got everything I wanted. So I got a new floor, I got new lighting, I got great air conditioning. So this is my ironing station with wire baskets underneath it, just a chunk of plywood that I raised up enough so that I could put fusible web and all those supplies underneath. I think this is one of my favorite things. If you all have an ironing board or build your own ironing station, just to draw a ruler on the edge of it, I use that all the time.
That's a great tip.
Yeah, really fun. These, that's some of my lighting equipment, the backdrops and stuff that's down. I love making wearables still. This is a costume I made. My sisters and I had a Mad Hatter tea party, so we did weird
That's
stuff.
amazing.
It was, my sisters are the best. A mannequin that's really just got fabric draped on it right now. This is a new addition to the studio. It is a 1950s Singer Rocketeer cabinet that I refinished and reupholstered. This is part of the sewing corner. This is one of the first mid-arms that Handy Quilter made, and I've loved it ever since. I'm a huge fan of old mechanical things that just do one job and do it well. And this is my main machine. I work on an old Bernina record, a 930. It's a workhorse. I've worked on all the best, fabulous new machines, and I highly recommend them unless you're me, because I beat up my machines like crazy. I'm just so hard on them, and I always knock them out of whack. So I've gone back to old. So I've got out a couple of in-process samples that are part of the Beat It class that I'll be teaching for your festival.
That's right. You'll be teaching upcoming at our Spring Quilt Festival online. That's scheduled for April 28th to May 1st. And you're teaching Beat It Like You Mean It.
Right, that's one of the classes. So we learn to put beads on quilts, and I teach you how to make a little beaded bezel for a cabochon. There's kits that we learn mostly techniques by doing these just easy, small little sample things. I tell my students they don't even have to finish it. You can just learn all the techniques, then cut off the beads and use them for something else that you like later. Really, I like to give my students a tool in their pocket that they can take out for when they need it. That entire cabinet is full of thread. Computer workstation, the books, far too many books, my cozy couch place. I got that in South Africa when I was there.
Amazing.
And got to meet the artists that were stitching on it. I love seeing the textile traditions that come from around the world. This is a vintage kantha from India that's also one of the older textile traditions. I sit here all the time and do like little things while I'm watching a movie. These are some embroidery patterns that I've been working on creating.
Those are great.
Thing.
That's a very modern embroidery there.
It was having fun with it. Although the mandala, my sister said, that's totally 70s. Okay, the color thing. So this is part of my fabric storage. These are mostly garment fabrics. And then here's my online teaching thing. right? I store all of my classes step by step in cafeteria trays, so I can just pull them out one at a time when I'm teaching. That's one of the patterns that we use in the playful portraiture class, which is another one I'll be teaching for you all.
That's great. Now that's Audrey Hepburn.
That is Audrey, and let me show you what we do with it. So in the class, I teach my students how to take a photograph and trace it, and the techniques and reasoning behind where I choose to put each value. And then we make some fun portraits, not in real colors, because I want them to learn about value instead of color. So we do things in wacky, weird colors.
That's so cool.
And it's a fun class. It's really fun. This is room 2. I've got lots of product storage back there, I don't know, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of messy stuff. Put those up there. There's a few Mancuso ribbons there.
Congratulations on all those ribbons.
Hi. When we moved up here, I didn't have a design wall, but I didn't want to take down the mirror. I love the way it reflects light back into the room. So I built that's a rolling design wall. I can hang it up flat against the wall or roll it around, move it to different places like it is. I've got more fabric storage, a lot of supplies back there. You can see kits that are ready to go out for other classes, all kinds of stuff.
Lyric, what's the most favorite thing in your studio?
Oh, good grief.
I'm Mary Humphrey, owner of Cottonwood Quilt Shop. I've been in business since 1994 and have been participating in the Mid-Atlantic Quilt Festival for 27 years. We offer the full line of Bernina and Burnett machines and accessories, including the Q16, Q20, and Q24. With over 3,500 bolts of fabric, mostly designer cottons, wools, rayons, knits, and linen, we offer classes in machine mastery, quilting, and beginning sewing. Come in soon.
I hope you enjoyed the studio tour and interview with Lyric Montgomery Kinard. Definitely check out our classes. They will be on our website, www.quiltfest.com. Coming up in a few moments at 5 p.m. Michael will be back with Wilson's Calico Corner, as well as Dippy Dyes. And you can join us here on Facebook Live or on our website, onlinequiltfestival.com, or our Instagram and YouTube pages. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.